my pleasure. Oh, so many beautiful things. You mentioned butterflies, which is really my symbol of growth and transformation. So thank you for that. I wanted to share a story of really how I broke out of my cocoon, several stages actually. The first being when my father died at age 11. So I was 11 and he went off to Italy and we didn't see him after a week. We were told he had a heart attack and that was that. And so my mother was left to raise four children on her own. She didn't speak a word of English and really she didn't know what to do. She thought she would lose her house and we were on social assistance. So that was something that we required, and we're very grateful to live in Canada to be able to have that. And so what could I do? I started to really look inward at age 11. You're right about children and really this sense of no limitations. And so when I looked inward, I thought, what could I do to support? And I looked to the Serenity Prayer and I thought, you know, what is it that I can control? What is it that I can change to support my situation? And so I got a job. And so there I was working at age 11, odd jobs here and there. And I wanted to change the narrative. I wanted to change the story that was being told about, you know, the poor four children who were being raised by their mother and the father had passed away and that sort of story. So what could I do to break through this? And at that point, I thought education was really the key to breaking through and finding that next stage of purpose, that sense of control, that sense of freedom. Both my mother and father hadn't gone beyond elementary school, so this was really important to me. So in high school, I did really well, and I was top of my class and valedictorian, and all of that went well. And the next stage was really about choosing a university. And what I found there, and I think we heard a lot of people talk about this today, it was really about transforming and changing what might first appear to be a lot of no's and transforming them into yeses. And so what I did was I decided to take a pre-calculus course before entering university, and I discovered that I didn't have the criteria to enter university at that point because I had taken too many courses, if you could believe it, in one particular area. What I did was I transformed that no into a yes really quickly, and then through that process, I was able to change the university guidelines. And I thought, how many students have heard no as a result of process, and how could I make a difference going forward? So I became a teacher, and that was an inspiring time. But I did feel limited in a lot of ways. And I thought, how can I support more students and help them through their journey? And that's when I discovered I had a golf ball-like node on my neck. And maybe it was because I wasn't voicing my true purpose. And at that point, I remember seeing a butterfly in my bedroom, and I thought, what is a butterfly doing here? And what's this golf-like node on my neck? Soon discovered that I had cancer and was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I remember the oncologist saying, this is a blessing, Joanna. And I thought, how could cancer be a blessing? But he said, you know, this is the best cancer to have. And I said, okay, it's the best cancer to have. The diagnosis came on the day that my father passed away, which was the day after my birthday. So I went through the chemotherapy. And at that point, I was asked if I wanted to consider egg banking. I was married and still am to my soulmate. And through that process, I thought, no, let's continue with the treatment. 6 months later into chemo, I became my self-advocate because I didn't feel well, and I continued to push. Through that process, I then discovered that the cancer was still active. So I was referred to Princess Margaret and required an autologous stem cell transplant. So there I was. on that journey, and then faced with the decision again, do you want to proceed with treatment, or would you want to consider egg banking? And immediately in my heart, I knew that I would be a mother. And so I said, no, let's proceed. Let's move on. My sister was pregnant at that time and highly emotional, as you could imagine. And so I proceeded with the transplant. And the day that I had the transplant, it was quite fitting because my mother was in the room. And my husband, who wasn't there, I later discovered was on the rooftop of the hospital releasing a butterfly. So that was transformational for me. From there, I discovered that through that process, it was really a time for me to reflect and reconnect with my father. And there were so many moments where I could really speak to him in a number of ways at a soul level. Through that process, I was then able to get my mother some financial support that she didn't get when he passed away. So that was empowering, I think, for her and for me. And it was really a transformational journey. That was what I consider a rebirth. So today I've got 3 beautiful boys, ages 14, 11, and 8, a loving husband, a successful business that I can use and leverage to be able to support so many young people today that require this hope and transformation that we're all talking about today. And through that process, in speaking to Vikki, she talked about Hit Talks Next Gen, and I thought that was a fabulous next growth opportunity for her, and I'd love to support her and have young people share these powerful stories. So I think the message I want to leave you with today is, as Vikki said, thinking about the caterpillar, thinking about the cocoon, how do we grow through this process, and more importantly, find those gifts that we all have inside of us, open those gifts and fly. So thank you, Vikki.